Well, definitely have a pursuit out here in the valley. You got the information right there. We're on Ventura Boulevard. Thank goodness it is light traffic out here for sure. Speeds have been staying right about 45 miles an hour. Now, they are saying that that woman is wanted in an investigation involving a gun. But there's also 3 large dogs inside that van. Now, the law enforcement, they're going to have to contend with those animals. Hopefully, it will not turn into anything other than this person giving themselves up and going into custody. You can see LAPD just basically following along there, a number of them, because of the dogs and the situation. This woman has been driving on surface streets the entire time, has not made her way onto any of the freeways. Ventura Boulevard looks like a ghost town out there. Look, it is wide open and empty, and those speeds seem to be staying low. Now, apparently, this woman is not pulling over because of the possibility of the other warrants that might be involved in this. Skyfox still kind of moving a little bit away from this because of the weather situation. We are not allowed to loiter in Van Nuys's airspace. That's one of the reasons why we're kind of moving away. Hopefully, the vehicle will make their way towards us. But right now, the LAPD, this is going to be Van Nuys division, they're tasked with bringing this to a stop, dealing with those large dogs, and getting that woman into custody while keeping everybody safe.
I mean, for how slow-moving the van is and how many police cars are lined up in a row behind her, it looks like she's getting a police escort. I know that's not the case, but do you know if this woman has the weapon inside of the van?
You know, those types of questions, law enforcement's working with that as well. This is one of those things. It's like, you know, we can kind of poke a little fun at it, but I am definitely concerned of the fact that there is some talk about a gun being in play. They've been asking the right questions on the radio. We've been ear hustling in. We've been listening to what they're saying, and the right questions are: is the gun been seen? What is the situation with the gun? Those are the type of questions that they're asking, and those officers have those are the right questions. But the fact that it was mentioned that there is a gun involved is going to be part of the problem. They cannot just approach this vehicle just trying to take this woman into custody, and then now add in the fact that there's some dogs inside there as well. Don't know the demeanor of those animals, and this just becomes more and more complicated. You can see it right there. We're making that turn now. She made that turn on Reseda, so we're heading up into the hills right now. I wouldn't venture to say that that van possibly, this is just speculation, that she might actually be living in that van. We did take a good look at it when we passed over it. We looked inside the dash. It is full of stuff inside that vehicle, and then to know that there's 3 dogs in there as well. Now, law enforcement, they are still behind it. We understand that a helicopter may be joining this in a moment or two. We're keeping our distance because of the airspace, and they're not allowing us to make our way into this area. So we're doing the end of lens thing again out here, and occasionally, well, we got lucky. She actually made a turn towards us. So maybe she'll make her way out of the Van Nuys airspace, and we can continue on. But right now, law enforcement really tasked with bringing this to an end safely. And of course, I'm concerned about the animals and the driver involved in this pursuit.
Well, the vehicle is going slower than what we're used to when it comes to pursuit, and it does truly look like she is being escorted. If someone is just looking at this from the outside without any knowledge of what the situation is, looks like picking up speed a little bit, but now we're in a neighborhood. I suppose the good news here is not many people are out and about. It is a holiday after all, and many people are home, maybe sleeping in, so they're not around. At the same time, because people are off today, they might be outside doing things, right? Because they might take advantage of that. So that just always makes us nervous watching these things unfold. It's unpredictable. And let's see, maybe it looks like they came to a stop.
Yeah.
She turned around.
Yeah, there was a cul-de-sac right there, and you saw that van just kind of jump over the curb. So she's definitely being aggressive towards officers. That's something we definitely don't want to see at all. And now that van is again moving along. Now the law enforcement, it might take them a moment or two to make that U-turn, but she is definitely not going to be lost. It isn't like they're just going to kind of just toss up their hands vans and say, oh, okay, this is over. And, you know, the traffic being light can be a plus and a minus. Folks might be a little bit, you know, not paying as much attention. Maybe speeds are a little bit higher. We've seen a couple of those today as well. So it is definitely still a dangerous situation. That van's still moving along at a pretty good clip, like you mentioned. And then, of course, that driver, she is running from law enforcement. We do not know the exact state of mind that she's in right now. And if there was gunplay involved, this could be something emotional as well. So there's a lot going on. And, of course, law enforcement, they're trained to handle these things. Right now, though, we're driving around through the, you know, this is the neighborhood. This is Woodland Hills, Tarzana area. This is going to be north of Ventura Boulevard. These are expensive homes out here in very nice neighborhoods. You know, does she know this area? Is this a destination, or basically just kind of driving right now just to keep this vehicle moving? She did make her way into a cul-de-sac, so that would lead me to believe that possibly she does not know where she is. But now it looks like we're making our way back out onto Ventura Boulevard. More law enforcement out in the area. Possibility of spike strips, that was in play as well. But not sure if they actually implemented that, but they did mention it, that they were thinking about using spike strips. Right now, though, you can see it, wrong side of the road. Thank goodness, extremely light traffic, but still, it could be a dangerous situation, and we just don't know what the mindset is right now of that driver. We do know that she doesn't want to get pulled over. That's an obvious. But what's going on, you know, with the possibility of a weapon, and then also those dogs in the vehicle, this is there's a lot going on, and law enforcement, they've got a lot on their plate right now to bring this to an end safely.
And we know that there's no pursuit is typical, but when it comes to somebody who might be suspected of having a weapon actively in a car, what's the protocol for officers? Because that would seem to be an immediate danger to the public.
Immediate danger to the public, immediate danger to the officers. When they try to pull this person over, they will be extremely cautious in making any kind of approach. They won't make an approach. They'll have that suspect come out of the vehicle. Also, the pit maneuvers we've seen in the past, they won't use it because of the fact that the vehicle might spin around and the driver with the weapon might be pointing at officers. So there is a lot going on. It is a different type of game plan for sure for law enforcement. They have protocols in place for this. But again, you can kind of see right now what I was talking about earlier on with the vehicle being filled with, I'm just going to call it stuff. Also, there's a broken window on the side there. And then we are hearing that there are 3 dogs in there. Don't know where they got that information. I clearly can't see it. There are no windows on the back of that vehicle either. So, but we have heard them say it multiple times, 3 dogs inside that vehicle, and that suspect, the female, wanted for questioning involving a gun.
It seems like she's picking up speed, and we noticed a few times, of course, blowing through those red lights. So it seems to be that she's getting a little bit more irritated, perhaps, and taking more risks as we watch this unfold.
Irritated or desperate, whatever it is, you know, look at, you can see also folks on the ground down there, they hear those lights and sirens, and a lot of those people are doing what they're supposed to do, either kind of just stop where they are or get off over to the right. And that's what we just saw there at that intersection. That van just kind of moved their way through there. We're making our way down Ventura Boulevard. Woodland Hills is where we are now, and you know, anybody that's driven this knows that we're going to make our way over to Calabasas. I really feel like this driver doesn't have a destination, is just basically driving, biding time, hopefully on a cell phone, maybe talking to somebody, trying to work this out. But the reality is just pull over, follow the directions from the law enforcement. The animals might be put in a shelter for a little while, but all in all, I think that might be the best outcome for everybody involved. Right now, though, this is kind of, I feel for the officers with this one. This is going to be very difficult. Even if this does come to an end, is like, how do you get that woman out and along with those animals? A lot of times we'll see those animals try to protect somebody because they feel like their owner is being threatened by law enforcement. You just don't want to see a situation like that unfold.
Yeah, it does look like perhaps this van might be her home. There is a lot of junk and clutter in the dash area. Is this the dog you were saying? Is it hanging his head out the window?
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a dog. Looks like a Doberman. It looks like a Doberman out there. And, you know, they are very loyal animals, but you can see that dog is out. And it might not be a Doberman. But definitely you can see its head sticking out the window there. You know, Pups is probably just enjoying the drive. Might be picking up on the tenseness with the driver. But right now, this is still a very serious situation. And back into one of these nicer neighborhoods out here, law enforcement, they're just kind of following along, like you said. And now we're actually having a couple of extra officers joining the call here. And I have a feeling that's more for when this does come to an end, that they have the extra manpower there to bring this to an end safely, getting that driver into custody. Right now, though, making our way through these streets up here, Woodland Hills, I'm going to get a little bit of a look to see if this is another cul-de-sac. A lot of these roads just kind of go up and then swoop back down, so that's probably what's going to happen right now. But LAPD, again, this is a serious situation. They need to keep the public safe, they need to keep themselves safe, and they also have to keep that suspect safe. And it's becoming more and more difficult as this continues on. And again, there you can see the dog sticking its head out the window, kind of enjoying the ride. But I'm just so worried that somebody or one of the animals is going to get injured.
All right. Yeah, so if you are just joining us, 8 o'clock here on Good Day LA, we are keeping track of this white van in a pursuit. Started in the Valley. A woman was wanted in an investigation involving a gun. We are not clear if that gun is still in the van. We do know that there are 3 large dogs. As you can see, one of them was hanging its head out the window. This is a pursuit that began about 45 minutes ago, a half hour ago. And is now winding its way through Woodland Hills. And Stu, you've been keeping an eye on it. It seems to be, you know, slow going. However, we've been seeing the driver act a bit more erratically as time has gone on here.
And we
Definitely.
believe, Stu, that this individual lives in the van. That's some of the information we've gathered. And then just observing, just from what we can, obviously there are no back windows there, but the passenger side window seems to be broken. And then there's a lot of items, whatever items those are, on the dashboard there. So it gives off the image that perhaps this is also this individual's residence.
Yeah, and you know that it just piles on. It becomes, you know, more and more desperate for that driver. You know, if this is her residence, she definitely doesn't want to get, you know, if it gets impounded. These are things that might be realistically going through that woman's mind right now. It's, you know, if they pull me over and I go into custody, my dogs are going to go into a pound, my vehicle is going to get impounded, and how am I going to, you know, how am I going to get my life back? You know, whatever it is, how am I going to get back to that point? I don't want to give up my pets probably, and I don't want to give up my home. So these are all things that might be going on inside that driver's mind. LAPD, though, their concern is the safety of anybody in the area. Looks like we are doing something.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that is all about right there. Went up onto the curb, going back up on the curb again. Making our way, and there was the spike strips. So they did use the spike strips.
Okay.
Now we know. Yeah. So she saw those spike strips being deployed,
yeah.
and it did her evasive maneuver right there.
So she is paying attention and very well aware of what's going on. So she's sharp, I guess you could say, right? She's aware that you know, they want to stop her. There are several police cruisers behind her. We've seen that number actually increase as this has gone on. And now you have officers attempting to deploy those spike strips.
Yeah, and you know, if they did it once, we'll possibly see it again. That one was pretty, you know, it's pretty obvious. We've seen them be sneaky in the past, where they'll kind of just hide out and wait for that vehicle to make their way into their sights. You know, we also got to say, we've been talking about the weather today, and it is definitely cloudy out here. Skyfox is avoiding some clouds right now, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of got wide. And if I'm going to lose lose it. Hopefully I didn't lose it right now. We're going to keep an eye out for it. But again, this is part of the problems that even LAPD has involved out here. They have to keep themselves safe. And there we go. We did find it once again. I went to the wrong spot. We call it like it is. And continuing to wind its way up into the hillsides. This definitely is one of those ones where hopefully she does it. Hopefully or not hopefully, she winds up in a spot where she can drive out. If these are dead ends, we've seen it in the past where she did make that in that cul-de-sac, do an evasive maneuver, drive across some lawns to get away from the law enforcement. But as it stands right now, continuing on up here into these streets, the very tree line, so it's going to be more and more difficult for us to see it. We can't make our way up there because of those clouds, because where those clouds meet the hillside, that's where the Skyfox will meet the hillside as well. We do not want that at all. So right now we're going to keep an eye on it the best we can. LAPD, they're on the ground. They are definitely in pursuit. Where this woman goes with those dogs in there, it's really up to her. But again, even though it might be a difficult choice, the best choice really truly would be to just give up right now and pull over and bring this to an end peacefully.
Well, you wonder if as the van keeps winding up the hills, if the topography in the streets are going to get a bit more narrow. That might help officers in the spike strips, because where they put the spike strips down in the first place, the street was so wide that she was able to get around the spike strips and go up on the sidewalk.
Definitely, and that's what I'm saying. If they have the opportunity to be a little bit more sneaky, then they will. But the problem is, especially when we're in these up in these mountainous areas or hillside areas, is like you said, tiny roads, lots of choices up here as well. I mean, they just said Morrow Drive. I mean, take a look at the map. How many Morrow Drives are there right there in that little spot? So yeah, it becomes a little bit more difficult even for the officers. But right now, they are definitely still behind her. They're still keeping an eye on it. They want to bring this thing to an end safely, but it becomes more and more difficult. And as far as law enforcement's helicopter, they are not going to get any better than we are. They're going to encounter the same clouds, and right now we're starting to lose it as we're oh, there they are. They actually are making that effort to get up there into those clouds. So and that also is another spot where Skyfox, we can't crowd them, so it's just going to become more and more difficult. But the pursuit continuing, winding through these tiny roads up here, definitely in the Woodland Hills area.
Okay, so Stu, what we're going to do is we're going to check back in with you a little bit later on and give us an update on what's happening out there. We want you to be safe, and I know you're losing visual a little bit out there, so we'll check back in with you. So thank you for your coverage on that. Keep us updated, but in the meantime, we'll tell you about this story.